All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to day 3 of the 30 Days of Fintech UI UX edition. Today, we are going to be talking about something very, very important. And it's so important that this is the reason why people choose to, keep using your application or run away. It's super important. All right. And it is what? Trust. Now, I'm going to give you 6 to 7 principles or keys, practical ones that are going to help you build trust when designing a fintech product. And we're also going to do some practicals together, work around some of these things I speak of or I'm going to speak of. All right. Now, the reason people will trust your app, and we've said this several times, it's not just because it is beautiful, right? As important as that is, it doesn't end there, right? People trust your app because every single interaction they have with your app reassures them that their money is safe, right? The reason, even a regular relationship, the reason I would keep trusting a friend is because every single time I interact with that friend, I do not feel any less safe. Humans start to drift away the moment they do not feel reassured. You see that? This is exactly what separates fintech from many other digital products because you are dealing with people's money. And if you're dealing with people money, right, with people's money, they want confidence, not uncertainty. They want to be sure at all times. And this trust I speak of is not something that is built by one feature, like a feature that exists in fintech app called trust. No, no. It's built through every single decision you get to make in that fintech product. All right? It is built through every single small decisions, large or small decisions. Now, I'll give you 7 keys, or should I say 7 principles, that would help you build a fintech product that users can trust. Number one, clear communication. That's visibility plus feedback, right? Visibility plus feedback. Users should never wonder what is happening. You don't want them to wonder what is happening. A good fintech application communicates before, during, and after every single event or action. It communicates. And I'll give you an example, right? When you want to make a transfer, right, and you click on, say, you put in the amount, right? All right. Now, when you put in the amount, I've seen this with so many other fintech products. You put in the amount, okay, and then you put in the account number. Now, when you put in the account number and then select the bank, all right, now a lot of time prior selecting the bank, or when you select the bank, they are going to try to see if they can validate it, right? But why they are trying to validate it, they are not telling me that that's what they are trying to do. You probably just see after putting the account number, you just see that you are waiting for a couple of seconds. Like I'm not seeing validating or confirming account number. Like I'm not getting any feedback. It's just there. Now that in itself, you just broke trust, right? You just put a user in a place where something else should something else should better get that trust back. Else, over time, they will just come across another product that their testimony would be. It is just better. They might not be able to explain why it is better, but there are a lot of micro decisions that have been made in terms of visibility and feedback that makes it better. All right. Now, when the transaction happens, finally validates the account number, and then you want to send it, and you click on send. You see that? You click on send, instead of it to show you sending or some sort of interaction that confirms that you clicked an action and the money is being sent or is processing to be sent, nothing. Right? So again, that is important. So there should be what? Clear communication at all times. And peradventure, maybe the transfer fails, or while you're trying to send money it fails, you should be able to give the client a feedback that clearly states that that transaction had failed. All right. If there's a pending transaction, you should give a user feedback that there's a pending transaction. Again, that's why I keep on referencing to OPay so much. That's why I love their product so much. If a transaction is pending, you would see your transaction is pending. You will see it there, clearly written, pending. So many traditional banks do not do this. So many fintech applications out there do not do this. And we are going to discuss how it is that there's a large part of UX that is dependent on how solid the engineering of the fintech product is. We are going to talk about that, right? That's but you as a UX designer, you have to play your role, and even if you play your role good enough, it will even inform the solidification of the engineering team, where they are going through your user experience and whatever it is you've prepared, and they are having to think about their capacity engineering wise. Either they ask for more resources so they can make their engineering team more robust, so they can deliver something that is as exceptional as what you have prepared for them. You see that? Now, if So that is one of the principles. What? Clear communication, visibility plus what? Feedbacks, right? Visibility plus feedbacks. You should never want to keep a user wondering what is happening. You never want to do that. All right? You would never want to do that. You should be able to, in terms of visibility, you should be able to show them their account balance. You should be able to display a clear list of their transaction history, right? You should be able to display all of these loading states and and different states that confirms and that affirms the user, that reassures them as they would interact with the product. Okay, so that is principle number one. Principle number two, transparency. Oh, transparency. Now I think that a lot of fintech products are even being overly transparent. But again, this is important, transparency. And then when I say transparency, I'm saying that as a fintech product, because money is involved, you want to make sure that you never hide any important information. This is crucial. Before user completes an action, they should know things like if there is a transfer fee, if there is an exchange rate that they need to look at, right, before making a decision, if there is a daily limit, all right, if there is a processing time before that transaction is delivered, if there is an interest rate involved, if there is repayment amount. Now, this is in terms of loan. So I'm speaking in all of this, bullets in terms of different aspect of business proposition of fintech products, right? So money should never come with surprises. All right. So you want to be transparent. The more transparent the experience is, the more trustworthy it becomes. Right. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, a crypto application. You're about to send money from yourself, from your wallet to another user. And then you made that transfer and you were somehow not informed of the gas fee, and then you now realize that you spent this so much money in gas fee when you could have as well just selected different alternatives. You see this happen different times with Binance, right? They will not just show you the gas fee or the processing fee, they would show you if there is a better alternative with lesser fees. You see that? Transparency is important, right? Now, this way, you would see that they would lose to what's the word? They would lose to fintech products who do not do this, will lose to other crypto applications, fintech applications that do this. Just because this particular what's the word? Fintech application choose to be transparent and choose to be considerate with how they display all of these fees. You see that? So it is important. Number three, error prevention. Error prevention. Again, I would reference to OP here, but yeah, let's get into it. Error prevention. And the reason I think this is one of the best UX principle there is because a lot of financial decision you get to make can be irreversible. You send money to the wrong wallet, you're done. That is crypto now. You send money to the wrong wallet, you are done. Even normal financially, like normal digital banks, you like regular Web 2 financial products, you send money to the wrong account, you are done. You calculate the amount of time you would spend in trying to recover it, and you just give up on the money. Like, how much did they sell? So, one of the things you that will be forever grateful for is that you can help them prevent mistakes before they happen, right? Before they happen. And we already see some of those practices in play, right? Where by really great fintech products, where they show you the recipient's name, validate the account number, right? If you sent money before and you want to try to send that same amount to the same account, they will tell you that this looks like a duplicated transaction. Are you sure? All right. This seems like a duplicated transaction. I think Access Bank will automatically not. It won't even allow the transaction go through. It should just tell you duplication. You probably go back or wait for a period of time and then try to send it again. All right. So if you're trying to send an unusual high volume or high volume transaction, or you are trying to send an unusual high amount of money, so and I think OPay does this really good, because have you ever tried to send, maybe first time trying to send 300k, your first time trying to send 300k to somebody with your OPay account, and all of a sudden OPay throws you an error and tells you that this money is quite a large sum. Are you sure? Confirm the amount and then proceed. You see that? Because The truth of the matter is, you make that mistake, you're done. You're probably not done, but yeah, it just puts you in a position where this could have been prevented. All right. So it is a lot more better to prevent an expensive mistake than to try to fix it afterwards. All right. So yes, error prevention. Number four, user control. User control. Now, people want to feel in control of their money. I've said this before. Beyond not just their money, humans like to like to be in control of situations, right? Hence why when they have a problem in their life, they try to, control situations that they do not even have control over, and then paying the price with their peace of mind. With their peace of mind, right? I can use my mom for example. She tried to, be always in control, even in situations that she do not have control over. And I sometimes I just tell her, you just leave it stay, right? You just leave it. Right, but then this is money here. Users want to be in control, feel at least they are in control of their money at all times. All right. A good fintech product would provide features like you want to hide or show your balance. That's for privacy. That's control. Control of privacy. Right. A good fintech product would provide options for you to be able to freeze your account. Nowadays, I think a couple of fintech products do it where maybe you are starting to get unusual debits. You could just freeze your account at a go and then figure out what was wrong and then unfreeze your account. Yes, also freeze your cards. Maybe you are getting again unusual debit from a particular card that you lost or something. You should be able to freeze it. That's control, right? You should also be able to set what biometrics or biometrics of your choice in terms of trying to log in. That's control, right? Spending limits also, you should be able to set that. That is control. All right. Logging out from other devices that allow, especially for fintech products that allow multiple sessions on different devices. That's control. All right. What do we call it? So there are so many aspects, right, of fintech products that you can work on, or that at least you can factor in, that allows user to feel like they are in what control. And when users feel in control, they naturally trust the product more. Yes, they naturally trust the product more. I bet you a lot of, now this is me trying to paint a real world scenario. A lot of men, right, will trust their women more if they feel like they have a certain level of control over the woman. Now we can speak about the whole concept of submission and how it is, even the submission has been bastardized. But the idea of trust is that you can trust something when you feel like you have a level of control. And I think this is even vice versa, right? To an extent, anyways. Control. And do you know they just have to feel they're in control, at least product wise. They do not necessarily have to be in control. Example, cowrie wise. Cowrie wise will not give you your money until the agreed period of time. Does that not mean you do not have control over your money? You don't now. You literally do not have control over your money, right? But you somehow still use that product and you still feel in control of your money. It's because over time, they while you were even locking the money, the way they reassured you on how safe your money is. Every single day, you see your money make profit for you, and they let you know that this money is growing. And you come and you click that particular savings, you see your daily increments. You that's control. Do you get? And then you try to even withdraw that money, and they tell you that, oh, we have an agreement. Yes, it is your money, but we have an agreement. You have a goal to meet. You see that? So that's control. And then because of how interesting, because of how powerful this principle is, because of how powerful it is, a lot of companies like piggyverse even weaponized it. Okay, let me not use the word weaponized, monetized it. That yes, you have control over your money, we've had an agreement, but if you want further control to gain access to your money, you would pay extra. Yes, yes, yes. So powerful. All right. So control is what important, right? Number five. I think we already combined number five, but it's feedback. We combine number five with number one, feasibility and feedback, right? But of course, feedback, and you already know about feedback, right? Making sure that when a user um make an action or click on an action or tries to interact with the fintech product, they get a response. every action deserves a response. You see that, right? If they tap send, you want to tell them what is happening. Is the money sending? Is it successful? Has it failed? Is it pending? Do I need to retry? Right? The moment you go silent in your products, what happens is that it causes anxiety, right? And the moment there's anxiety, right, their confidence level starts to drop. So yes, feedback creates confidence. Okay, right. Number, what's the word? Number what? Number six. All right. Number six. Number six is what? Consistency. My God. Number six is what? Consistency. All right. Kind of like messed my numbering up. But number six is what? Consistency. You see that? Consistency. And this is super important, right? And I'll tell you why. User trusts products that they can predict, right? Same way in life also, you can trust your partner more when you can predict them, right? You like, they'll tell you your partner is under the tree. You because of how much you know them and you can predict them, you just know that they are not under the tree. You see that? And the reason you trust them is because of how consistent they've been with not being under the tree. All right. So consistency is super important, right? Your buttons should be consistent across styles. So this is missing visuals. Your visuals should be consistent, and visuals include what? Your colors. They should always mean the same thing, right? When I say mean the same thing, I cannot have a red color saying error for this particular screen and have that same red color saying successful in another, or meaning successful in another screen. It has to be consistent in meaning. All right. Icons to your navigations, they should feel similar. When I click on a particular global navigation spot, nothing really should change about that component. If it's going to change, it should be consistent in changing. All right. So it should feel what? Familiar. Right. Consistency reduces mental effort and makes the user more confident. All right. It reduces mental effort. It does. It does. Right? Because of how consistent your partner has been, it simply means that you don't have to think so much of how predictable it can be. All of you in toxic relationship, you understand what I'm saying? Not just toxic, in abusive relationship. He's so inconsistent. Today I will do this, he will not do it. Tomorrow I will do this, he will not do it. So there is inconsistency, and because there is inconsistency, it's unpredictable. And because it's unpredictable, you are it's taking a toll on your mental health. So you are required to apply so much mental effort, right? So please leave the English. Number seven, security queue. Security queue, right? Most people don't understand certain technical terms like what? Encryption. Okay? They don't understand, but there are some things that they do understand, right? They understand some visible security features, things like Face ID, things like hide your balance, things like OTP verification, things like login alerts. When you log in the device, you get an alert that okay, you logged in your device. Things like if you are logging into a new device for the first time, to show you a trusted device verification, all right? Things like what? Session timeouts. I think this was one of the most recent things I implemented. This is one of the most recent implementation I made in one of the product I'm designing. Right, when after a few seconds, timeout. So somebody does not just carelessly take your phone and maybe the person knows your PIN somehow, right, and then just ruins your life. And of course, because you do not have biometrics activated for transfer, he knows or she knows your PIN, and then you're done because your application was what's open. Right. So this feature reassures the user that their money is what's protected. All of the security cues, right? They're very, very what important. Security what cues. All right. So number 8, recoverability. Um, even when the best system, right? Um, even when the best system and the best approach are put in place, right? There are some things that are still yet inevitable, bound to happen. All right. There are still some imperfections, right? And an example would be like network fails, right? When network fail, what happens? What do you tell the user? I mean, there's some fintech products like OP again, for example. When you're offline, they tell you you're offline. Like just go to OP and just turn off your data. They'll tell you you're offline, right? They'll tell you you're offline. I think at that point they disable maybe any action you want to make. Some things still works, but there's some major actions that would not go through. All right. So you don't queue. What's the word? You don't queue an action, a transaction, and then you end up doing that transaction twice. All right. So and then furthermore, it would mean that when mistake happens, when a user makes mistake, right? A good fintech product helps the user recover through, right? It helps them recover through, right? We already spoke about error messages, right? We already spoke about how that is important, right? Transaction receipts. the ability for them to interact with customer support, and not just interacting with it. While interacting with it, the journey is enjoyable because it can be it's so much pain in the ass in having to interact with anything that has to do with support. All right, it should be so easy. Like you click on the receipt where you're having issue with the transaction, and then it just picks up the idea, everything about it, and just help you process it. And then recoverability in itself again is highly dependent on the engineering. Like even when mistake is made, right, that mistake can be easily recovered from. You see, and that's why I think these guys are winning because within their ecosystem, if you make a mistake sending money to an OP account, you can get that money back reversed almost instantly in some cases, especially when there's a bit of pattern that that's your first time sending money to that account. All right, so reverse request whenever it is possible. All right, and even when some things go wrong, users should still know exactly what to do next. All right, and this really brings us to the end before we go into practical, right? Because we're about to start practical, all right? So this brings us to the end of the literature or the theory of how to build a fintech product, right? That is trustworthy, all right? That users would trust, right? So if there's one thing I want you to remember, right, from today's topic, right, from today's session, is that trust is not one feature. It is the result of many small design decisions working together, right? And we've explored a couple of them together. Every loading state, every confirmation screen, every queue, every warning, every success message, they all answer one question in the user's mind. Can I trust this app with my money? All right? Can I trust this app with my money? And as a UI UX designer, there is a question we should always be, that is, as a UI UX designer, that is the question we should always be designing for. Can I trust this app with my money? All right? Now, pretty much that's it. That's the end of this particular session. So we're going to work on a bit of practical together, right? I kind of like reaffirm what was spoken about, right? And we're going to take away. So from our last session yesterday, I believe we worked on a design together, all right? That design was three designs actually, right? The saving and investment, the loan, all right? And then we worked on the day-to-day spending, with the budgeting feature, right? Actually, I'm thinking we should use this instead. I'm thinking we should use this instead. But I would do loan because I just love the idea of loan. It's just interesting, fascinating, all right? And I'm beginning to see it in different lens, all right? Anyways, so we're going to work on a couple of things, right? That would highlight some of the things we've spoken of, right? One of those things is, I believe you can still see my screen, right? Or should I zoom in? All right, cool. So, we even bring this in here so you guys can maybe also see my face. Cool. All right, let's put it here. This works. Cool. So one of those things we spoke of was the whole feedback, few practical feedback, right? Feedback, visibility of information, right? So if you look at the screen, there's some things that are not in place already. You see, yesterday was just, if we did not really ponder on this principle, there's still some things that would yet still be an oversight. So because we've discussed this, we'll look at this design again with the lens of the discussion we've just had, and we'll reevaluate it, and you would see, even though it's not in its fullest potential, right? But there's still some micro decisions, some small decisions you can make that enables you to trust you more. Example with the eye thingy. All right. So total balance, I should be able to call an icon, an eye icon here, that enables users to toggle on and toggle off their balance, right? Now after that, we'll work on the feedback thingy, and then maybe the transfer flow, and then maybe any other thing we need to work on. Okay, let's see. Right? Now I'm even thinking the budget flow. The budget flow would be nice. Imagine coming into your app and letting user getting a pop-up that says that their budget for XYZ dates is remaining XYZ amount. It's almost finishing. So yeah, that would be really nice. I'm thinking we should do that. But yeah, we'll stick on this product. Stick with this one. So remember the icon pack I gave you guys? The linear icon. So solar set icon, it has different stuff. So you could really explore different stuff. But for this purpose, we are using a linear style icon, right? So this color here, obviously, it gotta be gray, it gotta be sorted. And the last time I checked, we did generate a blend from color shade that we normally would just use our color picker to play around. But of course, just bring anything, so it's just there, right? So you could just click on the color picker like so and find the color that kind of like suited the most or best. So there are two things involved there. Either it is more prominent than this, or it's the same level, it is not as prominent. See that? See? And it's balanced. This is a good balance. Yeah, so obviously you can turn this into a component and do the whole state with the hash. But yeah, I don't think we're going to do that, right? Just copy this and paste it here, right? So what we're going to work on today is the transfer flow, and show all of the feedback, all of those little feedbacks. We need that, right? It's not going to be too complex, right? The first one is just a screen that says send money, right? We'll keep this button here because someone did it, right? So first row that says what, send money. See how I'm just moving everything from auto layout, all right? It says what, send. Oh, I'm going to build on this one here. Oh god, I will build on this one. And money. That's the title of the screen. And this particular screen does not need a global component. So it's not a global component, but it doesn't need this component because now it's an inner page, all right, or it's another page outside of the home page, all right. So this icon, you get to make a decision here whether you want to you're choosing to center it or you're choosing to keep it to the left with maybe navigation, right? I'm making center. It looks good in center, and then the size. What is the significance of the size being that big? So there are a couple of things that helps you inform the size of your components. The style of the design you are trying to, the personality of the design you're trying to have, right, and the reasoning behind it, all right. Sometimes you just feel like it's not as important, it shouldn't be that big, right? Also, I do believe that the smaller elements are the cute that they look. I don't know, something about petite. Yes, guys. So you're going to see how this screen is going to turn out. It's going to be so clean. And I'll probably post it afterwards, all right? Post it afterwards. So when you want to send money, what's the first thing you collect from users? What is the first thing? Oh, thank you guys so much for the engagement so far. What is the first thing you collect from users? The account number? Okay. Now, there are different ways you can collect this account number. There are different ways. Feedback is a bastard and clear communication, right? There are ways you could just put in, account number. How many digits is the account number? Okay, 9, 10. And how do they split it? It's 10. 5, 5. We do 5, 5, yes. Probably split it 5, 5. 5, 10, right? Account number is 10, correct? I think it's 9. I think it's 9. Oh, account number is 9. Okay, so this element here goes down, all right? And because of the state we're trying to have, this becomes like a placeholder, something that they can obviously click on. And when they come to this screen, immediately the indicator becomes active. So again, that's feedback. Oh my God, feedback. So they are to know, because feedback also helps intuition. Oh, we'll speak on intuition for a long period of time. I think I'll dedicate a particular session on just talking about intuition. All right, very important. I think I can play the screen so we can navigate there when we need to see it. All right, and then this any bold is unnecessary, right? Either medium is good. All right, keep it under around 14 or 16, and we'll be okay. I think to be honest, I want to do towards 16 because anything that has to do with 14 is ready. I mean, I'm that blind. Alright, okay. So yes, okay, I'm trying to load the screen, but it's not loading. But yeah, we get to see. Now we have that, okay. And then after the account number, right? There's something that normally happens here, all right? The bank. So there's some fintech application. I'm just going to copy this element. Immediately you put the account number, you try to just figure out the bank. Hope it does it, right? And if it does not find the bank, it gives you the option to select bank. All right. Now this place you get to decide where exactly to put the elements. So you see the way I'm just being careful. All right. So this could be your list of suggestions of banks. Let's say somewhere around 3 banks, maybe to suggest like maybe 3 banks, top 3 banks, all right, likely to be, right? If over time you build it, yeah, 3 banks. So I'll put OP first, all right. You see that? Okay. This is the frame of Figma. This is Figma, all right. This is Figma, guys, right? So I'll put what? Let me reduce the light a bit so you guys can see clearer. Yep. I'll put the first bank, all right. Now the first bank also needs a bit of complementary elements to show that okay, this is clickable. You see that? All right, the first bank, second bank, and then maybe the third bank. All right. You see that? I just want to duplicate because how is live stream even still going through? Because I don't know what's going on, guys. Should I disconnect my? It's not loading anything for me. All right. So right. I'm going to this icon. Okay, the icon is showing now. I'm going to group these two together. I'll paste the icon. I'll drag it like this. You see that? And then I'll make it what? Auto layout auto. You see that? Now again, that's why the live recording is important. You see me clicking in the necessary places, right? Where will help you understand what I'm doing exactly. So if we have this will most likely be the logo. Maybe we could even increase the size of the logo, right? Maybe for better identification. So yeah, make the spacing around from around 8. All right. See that? So title of the bank is the Texas. That so we have this now. All right. So this place now we can make it what somewhere around maybe linear. All right. All right. Thank you, Oli, for liking the live. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Means a lot. Now, all right, cool. So I could choose to turn this into a component, but I don't think that's what we're doing right now. But let's just go ahead and make it a component because again, I think I'm going to make this open source and really, really robust. I'll make this in such a way that if it's going to be a loan application, as a fintech product, if you're coming into the loan market, you just have this as a starter kit. I think that's what we're going to do with this. And I really need you guys to be part of the journey. I really need you guys to be what? I need you guys to be part of the journey. All right? I need you guys to be part of the journey. So 16, I'm spacing like so. So if there is no option, if I don't even need to branch out, to be honest, you could just, put it inside. All right? All right, put it inside. Put in like maybe it will be a white button, you know what the white button is saying? Oh, okay, select the bank one. Put in the account number, then you have this really cool stuff that says okay, select bank. Right? After getting your bank suggestions. Right? Again, clear information is important. So if I put a label here that says suggestions, right? I won't be wrong. Yeah, if I put this label that says suggestion, I will not be wrong. Because again, clear communication is important. So people do not see this and mistake it for right? And mistake it for the bank. So we'll put maybe Jaiz here, who may be Trust Bank here, right? Or Mango Money, all right, like so, and then select bank. Now, even the design itself is even shocking me, like, this is good because that's what happens when you don't design under pressure. You just flow. All right, so this year we could increase this maybe for 8, all right? Yeah, the color doesn't have to be prominent at that. Go pick maybe the base, all right? Base really calm. We'll use minus 0.5 pixel for the letter spacing. Right? We'll talk about this maybe sometime around one of our sessions. We'll talk about all of this visual stuff. But of course, that's not really why we are here. Right? That's not exactly why we are here. That's not exactly why we're here. We're here to discuss the totality of it, not necessarily specificities, all right, or specifics. All right. So select banks or select other bank. And that's one thing again, clear communication. All right. If you want to put an icon here, a bank icon, right? Feel free. All right. Feel free. Or a building maybe that shows bank or something. Feels like bank. Feel free. All right. Feel free. Okay. right? But I'm not feeling it, so I'll remove it. And it wasn't well done. The spacing could have been better, and then we'll get something. So here, now, the moment you see now select the bank, right, automatically pushes you to confirm it. It now gives you a feedback, and now tells you that, okay, oh, we found Adamu. Is this the Adamu? Is this Adamu that you want to send money to? Your job is to now say, okay, yes, proceed to send money to Adamu. So now ask you, okay, how much do you want to send to Adamu? So now ask you, proceed. All right. Now here, after you confirm the name, right? Of course, this is initial state. You can always do after state some other time, right? So you guys should not be too worried. All right. So here I'll click on let's use somebody on the chat. Olu, okay, thank you. HR. Well, did I get that spelling well? It feels so short that I think that it is wrong. What's your surname? All right. So yeah, that. Now you can now say maybe put it a bit of maybe it's within the same ecosystem. You could even put their picture. I think OP does that now. You can put their picture somewhere at the top. Okay, let's use the word Adams. And I'm not giving you something wrong. Oh, okay, nice. Yes, that. We'll now put the yeah, that's correct. No. So yeah, put the maybe the bank below, right? And say something like, throw a confirm user account. What? That's all. So this might be a little bit more prominent. It's too tight, right? So we need to maybe even 18, right? 18, right? Make it a bit of primary action thereabouts. Confirm user account, put like an exclamation mark or something, okay? Right, and then you do, right? Maybe we'll then put the account number for further validation. This, right? See the account number, right? You won't put it maybe close to the. There's no harm in doing this, even though I feel like visually or optically there's something wrong with it, right? So yeah, that's I'll portfolio this entire thing, okay? I'm getting used to the idea of portfolios gradually, okay? I mean, in terms of portfolio an entire frame, I mean, I get the gist, but yeah, this. So that's what we've done this, right? We've done this. Now this is feedback. Now this is not just feedback; it's also clear communication that comes with it. Remember the first principle we spoke about. You see, great. Now after this, we'll now okay. Let's send the money to Oluhi, and probably going to do a bit of like gymnastic here. I feel like I could have combined this even in the initial. So we're doing a bit of gymnastic here where we draw this, put in the middle, open the spacing a little bit, right? Something like this. Orient this entire thing like so. Now we're putting it here, all right? See why I like to duplicate frames. I'm going to duplicate this particular frame again, delete everything inside except the top and the bottom. I'm going to copy this and paste it here because I wanted the whole component to still exist, the whole outline and everything. And like I was to call it from the start, but I don't have that time. There's something going on here. Which we have to specify here. The image of the person or the bank can be a lot more pronounced because now you have more space. Now, what do we now do next? Remember, there's an option. You're not asking them to put in the amount. Why am I even cutting it? Same input field. Remember consistency we spoke of. It has to flow. Enter amount. Amount. Sorry. Clear communication. Enter amount. E.g. 5,000. See that? Enter amount. All right. A lot of time, there are times where you see experience like you put in a suggestion of the amount somewhere below. I think we did that for the investment application somewhere around this. I was playing around it while yesterday. I was just playing around it. So we'll take away this add cash. You see, you just put in a couple of suggestions. Bottom. All right. So this way, do you realize that we'll talk about accessibility again sometime during the challenge because again it is important. This is a form of accessibility. Yeah, there are people who are not comfortable, towards typing this, and all of that. Or they can be in a situation where it's not convenient to type and just typing on the suggested amount will save them a whole lot of time. All right. So put in the suggested amount, and then the moment you confirm the amount, there'll be a button that says what? Proceed. Today we're just proceeding. Flex it. Proceed. Now here there's supposed to be a navigation back button, right? There's supposed to be a navigation back button. I'm thinking we might also need to send money. This send money could be a global thing, right? The send money could be a global thing, all right? It could be a global thing where we have back button, but if you click on the back button again, it will not come to this particular screen. You see that? This is important. We'll talk about navigation. My God, we will talk about what? Navigation. This is important. Now, after this part, I will now move this to, what do you call it? Move this to somewhere around another screen. You know what that screen is? Another confirmation. Another confirmation. Oh my God, money, it's money. And all this confirmation we are throwing in, make them trust you. Confirmed transaction. Right? Confirm transaction would now be you telling the user, okay, sending XYZ amount to this XYZ person. Do you get me? You want to send 50,000 naira. Let's see how we can visualize that. 50,000 naira or 5,000 naira. I have any more money anyway. So let's use 5,000 naira. Sending 5,000 naira to Oluyi with this account number. All right. So the good part of this is that we can now maybe do a bit of, sending. We could do a bit of make it a bit conversational. Sending 5,000 naira to, all right, to who? All right, or you could just put typical transaction amount, but I do believe I find it like a bit boring, right? 2, and see the 2. Do you see how this looks really cute? All right. Now, there's a conversation to, I mean, the name is good, it's a good identifier, but you probably need to do a bit of research on which needs to take higher precedence in terms of hierarchy, or they need to be on both level, same level, right? I mean, the probability of you sending money to an account that has the same name is very low, right? But still, right, you do a bit of research. Okay, so then you can also what confirm what transaction. Now, remember I said every state counts. Now, while you are trying to, why this is happening here, right? Well, remember we've not entered any screen. Now, duplicate this so you see what I'm talking about. I'll duplicate this. Remember at this point, do not enter anything. All right, so it's like this. All right. Remember at this point, you don't enter anything. While you enter the account number, there's something that happens. All right. Maybe um, a state. All right. A state that shows maybe finding account or something, depending on the speed. Nowadays, it's so fast that you don't even need a state for that specifically. All right. So there's this state and then there's this state. If there's going to be a break before this state happens or this suggestion shows, you are supposed to send what a feedback. So feedback will look something like maybe this. All right. It doesn't have to even be too complex. So something like a spiral like this that maybe shows that or that says that what validating account. All right. It doesn't have to be too big or too much. Just something very simple. You can even go as low as 13 or 12, you know, and but the letter spacing doesn't have to be this size because it's smaller. All right. So something like this, and it doesn't have to be too prominent in terms of color. All right. And maybe you can put maybe an extra dash here that says that it's happening. Do you get me? Do you guys understand? So yes, that. You see? Now after this, to show you this, you select the bank, tells you to confirm the user account. You confirm the user account, it says, okay, enter the amount you want to send. After you're done entering the amount you want to send, it tells you confirm the transaction, confirm that you want to send this amount to this user, right? And then afterwards, you now ask you to put in your PIN or use your biometrics, depending on what you set. But we would assume that this is what PIN, all right? So the PIN would be, do this, enter PIN. PIN. Enter PIN. So this enter PIN, a bit sensitive. I'll use this instead. 656. Oh, I don't write it. I'll like. See that? 1. So we turn this into a component? Yes, we should. Yes, we should. 4, like so. You see that? Like so. Wait, it's not supposed to be 4. You see that? Now, you see we are moving super fast? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and really nothing. I think there's one side that is clear. I think it's here. And it's like, I think, either backspace or. Is it here or here? I think it's here. Is it here? I think it's actually here. But over time, you could also put the biometrics, dependent, right? Sometimes really your keyboard does the trick, or sometimes this is even better. It gives you a custom field. You have control over the personality of how this particular thing comes out. And then you don't have to put confirmation transaction. At the instance of the last pin, it goes through. Right? The moment you enter the last pin, it goes through. So this will just reduce the size and make it 12, 12. Right? Make it first one very prominent. Well, you have to make it first. You make it first, maybe 2, a bit prominent. See. So at least give an illusion of what we're talking about. Enter pin. And this enter pin does not do justice. You need to add a bit of context. Remember, clear communication. Right? So this enter pin, on top of my head, I'm thinking enter pin to confirm transaction. Right? You know that enter pin to confirm transaction. To proceed. So enter pin, right, could be communication. Right. Communication on your mute. But yes, you put enter pin somewhere, right? You put the description of why they're entering the pin, all right? So the enter pin becomes you see that, right? But at this point, there's something happening that we do not like. Is that now we are now having to change the orientation. Do we send it back to the center? Does it work? Let's see. Enter your 4-digit pin to proceed with the transaction. All right, you see that? It's not bad because it's not so long. So centering it is not so much of a bad idea. All right, so less is great, but again, consistency, because if you see the way we flew from here to here to here, it kind of like just makes sense if you think about it. All right, I mean, we could argue it, right? We could argue it, but if you look at it very well, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. See that? You see? Can you see it? Are you seeing the light now? I mean, yes. So when you enter the pin, right, something starts to happen. We'll come here, we'll copy this topic here, right? Copy it, we'll paste it here, right? So now say what? Sending what? Sending money. At this point, I've already captured, I believe I've already captured the same thing, maybe the name and maybe some sort of local kind of temporary place. So it doesn't have to call it, okay, I'm talking technical. But yes, so there needs to be a feedback that says that, okay, the money is sending, all right? And then if the money is done sending, there needs to be a feedback to say that sent transaction what? Successful. Oh God, horrible. Now come here, look for the sign that says check, a check sign, right? Oh, this is already getting too long. My God, I said it was not going to take time, but I beg. Design is always so much time. So here, put it where? Here. All right. And then once we're done with this, put in the right colors, but of course we're just using gray. All right. and then we're done. Now, if you notice what we spoke about, we missed something. Now, remember the principles we spoke about: clear communication, transparency, error prevention. We've done this. We've not done transparency, and I'll tell you why. We've done error prevention. We've done user control. We've done feedback. We've considered consistency, even security queues, recoverability. We'll touch on it in a bit. So, what has happened is that yes, you are sending money. Do you know the money there's a bit of fee to the money? Oh, there's fee to the money. It's not free of charge. But did they tell you that they're OP or something? Even OP will charge you after a certain period of time. So here, we assume that okay, we'll put in the amount 5K, all right? 5K, and they're probably going to charge you. I'll just pick this color here. Probably going to charge you what? Fee, 5 naira, 5 naira fee. You see that? 5 naira processing fee. So you have to be clear about whether it is the fee. Do they get to charge you for, even if the transaction happens and then comes back, do they still charge you 5 naira? What is 5 naira for? So again, you have to be clear about it. So if you use processing fee, it will be that even when the transaction is reversed or something, they're still taking away the 5 naira because they process it, you did not. So, but then it depends on the legality and the technicality around it. So I can't just make a big statement on that. But again, transparency. You see that? Okay. Now at this point, it doesn't even have to be here. Here is good also, right? But here also is even better. Like you say, okay, 5 naira processing fee. Like you gotta say like 5 naira processing fee. So regular people will kind of like do this stacking where they show you like a summary kind of screen where you see left and right, you know, the amount, the actual amount, the total amount, and all of that. And I'm like, okay, it's just 5 naira, guy. Do you get? Just 5 naira. And if that is so important to you, you could say maybe somewhere below you could put the total amount that is being sent or that is being taken away from the account. Somewhere below you could put the total amount. So maybe 5,005 naira. You'll be deducted 5,005 naira. You will be deducted 5,005 naira. But now the issue with distancing it like this is we will now invoke the principle of relationship or proximity that people put it here. Does it not take away the relationship you're supposed to have almost directly with this? You see that? Right? So again, we can rethink it, but you guys get the idea. Hence why I'm trying to highlight all of these areas for you. So you see, after that, you put in the pin, the money is successful, and then great. Now at this point, the money is successful, right? There are some things, right? Like a couple of things. Share receipt. This is such an important action. I think it should be important. But the button shouldn't be as prominent. Get me? So I'll just select this more. Ticket. Share receipt. Right? So the moment you share this receipt, they share receipt, and then oh my god, we can't really exhaust all of those principles because it's also supposed to be a report transaction. And this report transaction typically is not around this screen. It's supposed to be in a screen where you click on the details of the transfer that just happened. All right. When you click on the details page, right, you click on it. That's where you now get to see stuff like what report transaction. Right. So there we have it. So this is all we need to talk about. So in this design now, we covered why consistency is important, why clear communication that includes visibility plus feedback is important. We covered user control, right, where we added things like this here, you know, and some few other things. We covered why, what's the word? We covered why security queues are important, not entirely, but a bit of it, right? Because the security queues now over time span across, you know, them saying things like login with fingerprint to activate biometrics, them, what's the word? Having a session timeout. Oh, session timeout. You can actually do session timeout. Session timeout pretty much is when somebody has been logged in for maybe a period of time that has become unhealthy and become a threat even to the person because somebody else can just carelessly take their phone or intentionally take their phone and, you know, session timeout. If you tell them that, you say that you'll be, okay. So I had an interesting debate about this with one of my superiors. I said that, oh, it might just be that, yeah, I'm looking at my account balance and I'm wondering why my account balance is like that. So I should have the option to cancel, right? So it should be something more like, whatever this element is has a visibility issue. What's going on here? God, I beg. Can I inspect this element? Yes. You know how crazy what just happened is? Oh, you guys don't want to believe how crazy. Like a bug. Like a bug. I introduced a bug to my design. Like the tab is not working, nothing is working, like that thing is not going away. My god. Anyways, so this is supposed to be 5 seconds. So the idea is having something that says you will be logged out in 5 in term. So in is okay, and then this becomes, so we put it in medium or just regular, but should be in a size that is visible still. Right, so center it, closing the size, right, make it even more prominent so they know that they're about to be locked out, right? So they could even be you could throw in an icon somewhere, and it doesn't even have to be to say session timeout, right? You can further to explain why the idea of it is that the session timeout. You don't have to say that that's what it is, right? You throw in an icon, a really good icon that I kind of like give a bit of cue to what is happening, all right? It gives a bit of cue to what is happening. So that icon, I think maybe I don't know, right? So for security reason, your session will be terminated. And you see whatever I've written right now. For security session will be terminated. Whatever I've written right now, okay, can make a user go into a state of panic. clear communication is important. So whatever this is just a dummy text. So it could be something a lot more friendlier. So you understand that you're only just being logged out and you have to log in again. All right. Yeah. So right. So pretty much that is what this is. All right. That's what this is. So we can talk about the rest of it, but I want to believe that with these few practicals we've done, you understand why. With these few, let me go through one after the other. That involves this, right? That includes this session timeout. That includes, having to throw in a loading state, then before showing something, right? I believe this really should be an actual account number, so which means that probably be here, and then I believe then the indicator should probably be in the front, should be an actual account number, right? I don't know, be an actual account number, and then after this, right, we'll give them a confirmation dialog to confirm the account. This really is to prevent what error. That's error prevention. Okay. Now here you get to put in the amount, right, and then the processing fee, all right, and then so here I think you have to be careful about the spacing, so it's not too much. All right, again, consistency matters a lot. So here, see that this transfer fee could be somewhere else in a more cuter way. All right, do you get me? Or maybe when you put in an amount, this automatically disappears. Suggestion. Or why you suggesting when model already put in an amount? All right. So again, there's still more thinking that goes into it. All right. So we spoke about what error prevention, user control, feedback, consistency, security queues, and recoverability. Recoverability, pretty much, a good example would be clicking on the details page and maybe reporting a transaction. That would be a good place to start. Yeah, that would be a good place to start as regards to that. But so far, this is all we have done. So thank you very much, guys, for being here. I'm going to work on this, right? This would be, all of this project will be open source. All this design I'm doing will be available free of charge before the end of this challenge, and before the end of this series or exploration to be available. But the 2 video, it's about to go live on YouTube. I probably will show you guys right now, but I'm about to post it on YouTube. I'll edit this tonight and I'll post this also on YouTube by tomorrow. So guys, brace up. Thank you very much, right? And I'm going to end the recording